across. Now, we're kind of out in the country just a little bit. So a mile radius, you wouldn't hit too many houses, you wouldn't think. But you just do it. You just walk in this little community of Ellaby and think how many lost people are out here dying and going to hell. And here we are, we can't come together. Here we are, we can't agree nothing. We lose focus on what God wants us to do. We lose focus on what Jesus told us to do before he said, hey, he said, go feed my sheep. We're supposed to bring people unto him. We're supposed to tell them about Jesus Christ. There's people out here, there's a school full, and I tell these teenagers all the time, there's a school full of people that they're not loved. They're not loved. And I said, you would be surprised, and it's something tough to do. It's tough to tell somebody you love them. There's a lot of people you run across, you'll never hear them tell you that they love you. That they might love you, but you'll never hear them say it. But there's a lot of people that you'll run across. If you just look at that person and say, I love you, you'd be surprised what they would do, because they probably have never had anybody to do that for them. They have probably never just been showed love. And us as Christians, they should not only hear it, but they should feel it when they're around us. You know, I had an aunt growing up. That woman told me she loved me all the time, but you know what? That woman never had to tell me she loved me. When I walked in her presence, I felt it. I felt it. I mean, this woman, I said, wow. And I always told people, I said, if I felt that much love with that woman, just think of how much love we're going to feel when we get into the presence of the Lord. Y'all think about that. We just can't imagine. When we walk in his presence, just how much love. And, you know, and I've always said, I want people to feel like that around me. You know, a dog will tell you if you love them. A dog, they know if you're approachable or not. So, and I just want to always be that person. I want to be the person when people come around me, even though I might not never tell them I love them, I ain't got to, because they feel it through my actions and through how I care about them. All right, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 16. I'm about like Larry, I'm about to have 16 points tonight, I think. Is that what he said he was going to have Sunday, about 16 points? Go ahead, Miss Charlotte. Eric. No, she didn't.
That's love.
That's love. You could see it. Mm-hmm. Yes, her name was Maree. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And there's only like a few people in my life. Of course, you know, your mom and daddy loves you, and you can feel love with you. But this woman, I'm telling you, it was just unbelievable. And I think God puts people like that in everybody's path. They do. The people that they just love you. You know they do. You know.
She just looked like love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She did. She was wonderful.
It was just in her eyes, man. It was something special. I just get chills just thinking about it. It's just.
Wouldn't it be something if everybody in this church was like that?
Oh man. The church couldn't hold people. If everybody in this church loved like that, the church, we couldn't build a big enough church. We couldn't do it. Because you know what then, just like I said, our community would feel that love. They would feel it, and they would want to come in. Well, people's going to come where they feel loved and feel welcome. They just are. If they walk in this church and they sit down and nobody's talking to them the whole time they're there and they get back out and leave and the same thing, they're not coming back to this church. So that's why we should make sure people know that we love them. That's the main thing. Just like I said, just when they come here, acknowledge them. Just let them know, hey, we're glad to have you.
The Bible tells us, you know, God gave us grace, our faith, hope, and love, and grace is love. I was just sitting there thinking, I didn't count, but you probably said love 200 times already. You know, that's the greatest, that's the key is love. It's
Mm-hmm.
love. And, you know, I was telling Tommy the other day, you know, to me, Christmas and Easter are the two most important seasons for love. But and for us, we should love year round, all day, every day. And like you were saying, I mean, to give love is not. I mean, if you have a difference of opinion with somebody, then that, you know, that's not your wagon to pull. Your job is to love that person, and God's working that out.
That's
You know, that's not my job. He didn't tell me to fix it. He said, love that person. I'll take care of it. If it doesn't, you know, what I'm saying, if you think it's wrong or doesn't suit you, And that's a hard place to get, I know, because I'm 57 years old. It took 57 years. But I try to be that way now about everything. I try to, and it's hard, sometimes, but I go straight to God. If I struggle with the ability to administer the love, then I go straight to God, seeking that. I want God to, to give me, to let me do that. Is what because I know I've seen it. I see it every day. I meet people now, honestly, every day that I see love in, and I see, and sometimes just talking. I shared a little bit of my story with a guy, an inspector of all people, the other day, and he cried and thanked me for telling him the story, and I was shocked, really, and pleasantly surprised, and so you never know. And everybody out there somewhere, everybody out there everywhere is searching. And that's what they're searching for, is love. They just don't know it.
That's it.
So I'll shut it. I'm just
No,
saying.
you're good. You're good.
You wanna get like that?
No, I'm,
You're doing a great job.
I'm just saying. The more, it's like, the more you do it, I say it's because it's been hard, to make it to this point, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's just like putting on a shoe, it just becomes second nature. So I try every day to practice that daily, constantly through the day, to show love to somebody. And over time, it just becomes the norm.
That's right.
I had an uncle who was a pastor all of my life. He passed away from the church. And he was my spiritual counsel. He's my uncle, first and foremost, but he was my spiritual guide, or if I had a spiritual question, I could call my uncle because I was comfortable with him. And when he died, I lost that. And I struggled for a couple of years. And I realized that God didn't promise to put these people here for all of my days. At some point, I've got to cowboy up, because I'll have to be that person for somebody else.
That's right.
So, just love and give love and continue to give love. What I was saying was, he was a loving man, very loving, soft-spoken, and I think about him every day now, probably more now than I did in the last 2 or 3 years. And that was his key, was how people were drawn to him.
Well, he transferred that to you.
Right.
With his
Oh, you
love.
think? I hope he did. I hope it'll eventually come.
That's right.
Yeah.
And just like that, you got examples in your life. I've had them in my life. You got examples of how the people in your life that you kind of mimic them. You kind of live like they did. They're a good example to you. And we all, like I said, God puts people in your path as an example, whether you realize it or not. They're there. They're there. We have to lean on people. Yes, we have God and we trust in God, but God puts people in our life too. We can't see God, we feel God, but God also gives us people, to help guide us and get us through. They're a whole lot wiser than us. They're a whole lot more loving than us. We should latch on to that. We should take to that. All right. Anybody else have anything? I'll go forward.
She taught Sunday school till she was in her late 80s. And she just loved the Lord. And she's the one that had me. And I've always been kind of a quiet person. I don't feel like talking. I sometimes would like to say. But I enjoy being around people that like to talk.
All right. Ephesians 4, verse 16. It says, for whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplement, according to the efficient working in the measure of every part, make an increase of the body unto edifying itself in love. And what that really means is everybody should be getting involved. Everybody, to grow, you got to get everybody on board to grow. And just like I said, we got to help each other. We got to help each other push forward. We can't expect, and a lot of times when people make the mistake, you think the pastor can do everything, or you think the associate pastor, or you think the deacons, or your Sunday school teacher, whoever it may be, you think they can do everything. And I just think of a servant. I went to Southside. We went to revival. I went to 3 days of the revival last week. And just to make it short, one of the guys' sermon was digging a well, just digging. And if you're working and you're digging, you ain't got time to think about what's going on around you. You're digging and you're working for one common goal. I ain't got time to worry about, well, Doug's slacking right now. I don't know Doug's slacking because I'm working. I'm focused on my goal and to push. And if we all get on board and we all work together and push toward a goal, we're not worried about who's slacking. We're not getting on the phone talking about this one slacking or they're not doing their part. But that's what we all got doing. The whole point the pastor was trying to get across. Dig your ditch. You need to work. You need to pull people in. He said, before you know it, you'll look up and you'll have people standing around you that were inspired by you, and they'll be in there and they'll be working with you. But that's just what we got to do. We got to just come together all as one another, and we got to work with each other. Everybody can't come up here on a work day and physically take bark and drag it around, but we all can do something. We all can work together and come together for one common cause. All right, Philippians 2:3-4. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of the mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own thing, but every man also on others. And what I get from that is just putting others ahead of yourself. And that's one thing I had to kick myself and get on myself a lot. The good old saying, treat others the way you would be wanted to be treated. And, and I even look at that better. I want to treat somebody better. I want to put somebody else in front of me. Because I don't want to be selfish. I don't want the glory. I don't want to be selfish. I want to put someone else in front of me. I want to do something for somebody else. And we all should have that attitude. Well, that's what Jesus done. That's what God done when he sent his son. He put us ahead of his son then. He sent his son to die for us, and we should do the same thing. We should put others in front of us and be willing to help others. And just going back, I'll go back to again, be willing to love one another. 1 Peter chapter 3, and I'll wrap it up, verses 8-9. It says, finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing, but contrary blessings, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. And that one right there, the evil for evil, a lot of us do that. I've done it a million times in my life. Somebody does something to me, I want to get them back. You want to get them back. What is that? That's the flesh. That's natural. Somebody does something to you, you want to get them back. But is that the way God wants it to be done? No, and that's a tough one. That is a tough one, let me tell you. Because just like the verse says, turn the cheek, somebody comes up and slaps my face, it's going to be tough for me to just walk away from that. Because guess what? Eric's going to want to come out. Eric's going to want to take control then. But that's not what God's going to have us to do. God is expecting us there again. Let's go back to love. Now, it's going to be hard for me to love that cat that just slapped me in my face. That's going to be the that's going to be the challenge for me. I can love Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon loves me, and I love Miss Sharon. I love her. But when somebody hates me, somebody puts me down, somebody talks about me, love them. If you want to challenge yourself, love that person. And that's a challenge for all of us, everyone sitting in here. Love the person that you say is your enemy. Start loving them. Forgive them. And guess what? Encourage them. As the old saying goes, heap coals up on them. Do good to them. When they do bad to you, do good to them. And that's what Christ would have us to do. And you would be surprised how much you might would change somebody's life just by doing that. Just being a Christian and just living an example before others. So anybody else have anything they want to add? Don't like their ways, yes. I've heard that plenty of times in my life. There you go.
I've seen people hold grudges for little things, and that takes away from you forgive them.
And go away from your joy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Rob you a blessing.
That's it. And that just reminds me, how many people seen that movie, The Shack? Who's seen that? Young girl, do y'all remember in that movie that he had to forgive pretty much the guy who done that? Boy, you're talking about tough. But he didn't have to do that. He wasn't doing it for that guy. God was trying to get him to do it for him. God tries to get us to forgive people for us, just like we just said. You got to forgive people for yourself. I promise you, you'll feel a whole lot better. You'll sleep a whole lot better. And certainly as a child of God, I tell you right now, I can speak for myself. When I have a alt with someone, I can't sleep good at night until I get that right. That's now, and we all should be like that. And just like I said, and the big topic is unity. What was my topic tonight, Caroline? Unity. Thank you, Caroline. All right, anyone else? All right. We will dismiss in prayer, and then we will go into our budget meeting. Now, if you're not a member, if you won't stay, that's fine. But just members, if you would vote. And like I said, it's fine if you stay. We have no problem with you staying. Steve, would you like to dismiss us in prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to come to your house once again, Lord. And as we have talked tonight about unity, our prayer is that you would just spread your spirit upon us, Lord, to where we would be able to forgive, where we would be able to walk together with each other and try to do things for your kingdom, Father. For that is our purpose here. And Lord, as we go into this next session, we just pray that you would everything that is done to be honorable to you, and that everything is done as glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.